Welcome to the With Yarn in Front podcast. My name is Erica. I'm coming to you from Grand Junction, Colorado, and it is November of 2023. It's been a while. It's been about a year since my last podcast, and I'm really glad to be back. I have a lot to share with you, obviously, with all of the things that I've been making over the last year. So even though I haven't been here on YouTube, I have been very busy knitting. It's been definitely something that has been keeping me going over the last year. There have been a lot of things that have happened over the last year in my life, so I will be kind of sharing a little bit of that at the end if you're interested in kind of hanging around and sitting and chatting and knitting with me for a bit at the end. I'll share some of that with you. But right now I do really want to just kind of jump into the knitting because that's what many of you are here for. Now, before I get started, just a word to say that this is a place for knitters, crafters. I might share a book or two every once in a while, but my goal with this podcast really is just to be a part of this community. There are so many wonderful people in our knitting community who share what they're making and provide inspiration to others. And I have gotten so much inspiration from all of you out there on YouTube and Instagram, and I'm happy to share what I'm doing and making and the yarns that I have, and hopefully provide some inspiration to you as well. If nothing else, maybe this can just be a nice calming spot for you to land for a little while. My episodes can be fairly long because I have a lot of things that tend to be going on. So, watch a little bit and put it away and come back later if you want, or sit down with me and grab a cup and watch the whole thing. But as this is a community, and so many of you are so kind, and all of the comments that you left last year when I first started this podcast just really kept me going. I did not anticipate being gone for so long. I really had plans to do some Vlogmasy, Christmassy things last year, but things just went a little crazy in December, and they haven't really slowed down since. But again, I'll share some more of that at the end of the episode. So, in that vein of being a community, I just do want to say that all are welcome here. You are so welcome here. And I'm so glad you're joining us. If you're a past viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I know I went radio silent for quite a while, so I'm so glad that you're back here. And if you're new, welcome to the With Yarn in Front podcast. So a lot of the projects that I'm going to share today that I've finished, I've gone over in previous episodes. So I'm not going to go into too much detail with them, but you can get more information if you want to go back to my previous episodes. So one of the things that I also want to share just before we get into the knitting is that being a community, this is a place, it should be a safe space for people, for myself and for all of you. So in the comments, you're always welcome to leave comments. I love getting your comments. But if you're going to be a troll and you're going to be nasty and you're just going to kind of try to antagonize people or criticize, it's not welcome here. So I'm just going to be flat out honest. I'm going to put on my middle school I used to be a middle school teacher. I'm going to put that middle school teacher's hat on and just say, if you don't have anything nice to say, then you shouldn't be saying anything at all. So move along. If you don't like it, if there's something about my podcast that annoys you, you don't have to watch it. It's a free world. You can choose to be here or not. If you want to be here, you are so welcome. Just remember that kindness is the utmost important thing. And if you can't be kind, then please move on. Okay, so with that said, let's jump in and get started. Now, first of all, I am I do have my little drink here that I'm going to need to drink on. It's been so dry here, and I've been battling I guess a cold for over a month now, and I feel like I'm on the upswing, which is really exciting because it's taken quite a while, but I still do need something to drink every once in a while. Okay, so the first thing that I want to share with you is something that you saw me working on in my last video. I had gotten to right about here in this yellow section. This is the Anthology throw from Helen Stewart. It was part of her Knit Vent collection that I believe she put out last year. She puts one out every single year, but I do believe this is from the 2022 collection. The yarns that I used were from my 2020 Stress Knits Advent, and this is the finished project. So I'm going to hold it up. It will be blocking my face, but I won't talk while I'm holding it up here for a second. So as you can see, it's huge, and this is only half of it. So it is a circular shawl. It starts in the middle. It's got this beautiful design that as I was knitting it, it reminded me of like a sea anemone. I kept thinking, oh, this looks like a sea urchin or a sea urchin. And it just grows and grows and grows and grows, and it's so addictive. It's so fun to get to that next color, just like with stripy socks, or if you're working a pattern with different sections, right? You just want to get to that next bit. And that was really how this went. So I don't remember the exact day that I finished this, but I know it was in early 2023. I worked on it all through like the holiday season, and I started it in November of 2022. So let me just kind of show you. Obviously it starts in the middle, and then the colors go out from there. It radiates out in a really big circle. It's got these really fun big double yarn over eyelets, and then these smaller ones every few rows, and then in between it's just knitting stockinette all the way around. And then at the very end there is this really beautiful lace edging that goes all the way around. So I have actually knit 2 of these. This one is mine. And then when I was working on it over Thanksgiving last year, my nieces were here, and my oldest niece, Addie, she was sitting next to me, and she just kind of was enthralled, and she was like, "That's so pretty, Auntie, what are you making?" And she really wanted one. So I thought, well, kids these days, they have so many things, but I thought maybe I'll make her one for her birthday. So I do have another one. I'll show that to you in a minute because I have a pile over here, but it's at the bottom. So this is the Anthology throw from Helen Stewart, using the Stress Knits 2020 Advent. And there is one little bit on here that I did want to show you as well. So for Christmas last year, one of my gifts from my boyfriend was he gave me these custom knitting labels. So I thought I'd share that with you here. I know he ordered them off of Etsy. I don't know who he ordered them from, but they're this really nice kind of, they're fabric, and they're printed on fabric, and then they're these little squares, and then I just have been kind of sewing them on my projects as I work on them, if it fits, obviously. So shawls and blankets and that sort of thing. So yeah, so this is my Anthology throw, and it tends to live on this hook behind me, right here. So we'll put it back. Okay, So that was a big one. At the largest diameter, it's over 1,100 stitches on the needle. So, so it's a significant amount, but it really does work up pretty quickly. Okay, so let's look at some other things. Another thing that I started last year, these were supposed to be my Christmas socks. I didn't get them finished by Christmas, so I'm gonna wear them for Christmas this year. This colorway is the A Thrill of Hope. It came with this this yarn and then the mini, and it's from Candy Shop Yarns, Deborah at Candy Shop Yarns. And I did the Crunkled sock pattern from Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears. So you can see, you know, it's just got this really lovely texture in the sock, and you will notice that one of these things is not quite like the other. Yep. So I knit them both. I went to soak them, and I noticed that this one, I didn't do the contrasting heel. Oh well. At that point, I was not going to rip back and do it again. So, you know, they're just gonna be on my feet. I'm just gonna be wearing them and enjoying them, but the colorways are beautiful. The yarn is beautiful. I did a 1x1 twisted rib on the cuff, which is my favorite. And I did the umbrella toe, I think, or whatever this umbrella or beanie toe is that comes with the Crunkled sock pattern, which I don't normally do. I normally do a wedge toe, but I did follow the pattern for this one. So those are the Crunkled socks. All right. I have another pair of socks to put on some blockers, so give me just a second. So one of my Christmas gifts last year was my mom bought me a membership to the Farmer's Daughter Sock Squad. And so every month this year, I have gotten a sock set that relates to a native flower and an insect that goes along with that flower. So of course, I'm not going to be able to remember what this one was. If I can, I'll pop in a picture over here. But this, I believe, was the March set, and I made the birch, beneath the birch trees, or the birch tree socks. I can't remember, so I will put it on the screen as well when I can find it, but it's a beautiful pattern. I did a contrasting heel and a little bit of a stripy toe, just because I thought that might be kind of fun. It's not in the pattern, but I did do, it's a 2x2 twisted rib that I did for the cuff, and then the lace pattern along the top of the foot. See, it's got like that mini, like a faux cable on the side, and that's on both sides of the sock. So I do have 2 of those. And let me show you what the front of those look like, because that's really the glory of the sock. So there's that really beautiful pattern, and it goes all the way down the foot. I will put the sock designer's name along with the name of the pattern over here. But those were some socks. I started them in March. I think maybe I finished them in April, May, but another finished object. All right. I have one more pair of socks that I have finished recently. I made these for my boyfriend. He's a huge Boston Celtics fan. He's actually from Boston originally, and so he loves all the Boston sports teams, but he's a huge Celtics fan. And he has converted me into a Celtics fan as well, which, if you ask anybody who's ever known me, they would probably be a little shocked, because I really was never into basketball. But when you have someone in your life who really enjoys basketball, and they can kind of share that experience with you, there's something about it that has just really drawn me in. So I will admit that I have become a huge Boston Celtics fan. So when I saw this colorway from Nomadic Yarns, it's called the Lucky You, I believe, pattern colorway. It's a self-striping yarn. And I just thought, well, those are gonna need to be some socks for my boyfriend. So it's a 3x1 rib that I did. The cuff is a 2x2 rib, regular garter, heel, and then a wedge toe. And I didn't break the yarn to do the heel. It just kind of worked out really nicely that it almost just, you know, worked together. So not perfect, but I did get them to be pretty similar, which was really exciting because I actually have, the only other self-striping yarn I've ever used was the Christmas Advent a couple years ago that I did from the Cozy Knitter. So these are the Lucky Celtics socks. He's worn them for almost every game so far this year, and we're pretty excited because they're having a great year. So we're looking forward to them, you know, doing really well this year. So socks from my boyfriend. They have been worn, obviously, so they're gonna look a little worn, but I'm pretty proud of them, and they fit his feet perfectly, so he loves them. Okay. What else? Oh, and these are a 64 stitch. All of the socks that I make are 64 stitch. The funny thing is my boyfriend and I have almost the same size feet. So, yeah. Okay. So last year I was working on a couple of sweaters. This sweater was one that I've had on the needles for over, oh gosh, almost 2 years now. I finally finished it. It is glorious. I've worn it several times. It's very warm, but here it is. Ta-da! This is the Chevron Stowaway sweater pullover by Marie Green. It's from her Sweaters in 2 Weeks book. And I started this in early I want to say 2021, maybe 2022. It's using the Ashen Bumble Tiger's Eye colorway in her slub and Surrey held together. So you can see all those fun little slubby bits. And it's got a really nice, I don't know if you can see the halo from a really nice kind of fuzziness from the Surrey. And I love it. I haven't made too many garments because the ones I've made in the past really were, for the most part, disappointing. I have a Tenya sweater, Tenya shirt that I made that I really love. But the full sweaters that I've made for some reason just, I don't know. So this is really the first sweater that I've completed that I've really, really been happy with, which I'm glad because, you know, it's an investment to knit your own sweater in time and money. So, so I did a 2x twisted rib cuff on both sleeves. And then also I did the twisted rib cuff on the hem. And I just really like the way that looks. I don't remember if that was in the pattern or not, but that's what I did. And then I also did the twisted rib on the collar. And with the Surrey and the slub, it's not as crisp with the twisted rib, but I still I really love it. So, so that's the Chevron Stowaway. I was just calling it my slubby sweater. And yeah, I love it, and I'm pretty pleased that it's done and I can wear it, and I have worn it quite a few times already. So, oh, it's so soft. Okay, what else? So I have, I had another project that I was working on, and I was using these two yarns held together. Some of you may be remembering it. You may be shouting it out at the camera right now. I did finally finish my Ranunculus. It's the first Ranunculus I've made. It's the only one I've made so far, but I'm really, really happy with it. So this is a mohair, silk mohair, from the Yarn at Home mom in her halo base, and the color is Fairy Tale. I think that's backwards, sorry. And I held it with this alpaca lace. It's 100% baby alpaca, in the colorway 1438. And it's this really beautiful kind of heathered yarn. Get a good color there. And it's almost like almost a lace weight. So there were two kind of lace weights held together. So this sweater is pretty amazing. It is fluffy, and I'm hoping that the fluff will eventually come off so that it doesn't continually get in my face. As you know, working with fluffy yarns, that does happen. And it's very, very warm. So I usually wear this over like a white collared button down, but here it is. The drape is amazing. It is so soft and so light. It's super lightweight, but it's also very, very warm. So I don't remember what size I knit in this, but you know, there are multiple sizes in the pattern. The yoke is beautiful, and the only modification that I really made was, instead of doing the I-cord on the cuff, I did a rib. So I think it's a 1x1, just a plain 1x1 twisted rib. And I really like the way that that looks. And when I wear it, it's about bracelet length. So the cuffs of my shirt that I wear underneath it hang out the end, which I think looks really nice. And then the bottom also has that 1x1 twisted rib as well. But you can just see it's so drapey and beautiful and fuzzy. There's that halo. So so that is my finished Ranunculus. All right, and I am a little bit rusty with this podcasting thing, so I know that I'm looking at the wrong place in the camera. So I apologize if that bothers you. Sorry. Not sorry. I mean, here I am. So I will try to focus my attention to where the actual camera is, but you know, it is what it is. Okay. So I have two other finished objects that I wanted to share with you that I've done. These are going to be gift knits. So the first one that I made is an Odyssey shawl. This is a free pattern from Locatelli, and it uses DK weight yarn. And I think it's really beautiful. I used yarn from Bad Sheep Yarn Company. These are from her Alaska collection, I believe, or her Deep Woods collection. I can't completely remember, but I believe this is like either Deep Woods or Dark Woods. This one was either, what was it, Butterfly or Mushroom. I can't remember. And then this one I believe was Owl. I'll give you a close up here. So obviously it's knit with 3 colors of DK weight. I didn't use the full skein on any of them. It's mostly just garter, but then it has these really lovely sections with this lace, with these large eyelets, and yeah, I really loved it. One of the things that I did find to be helpful was when I got to that lace section, I did put stitch markers in for every repeat. That just helped me stay on track. My mind was kind of all over the place, and I had to rip back a couple of times on the very first section because I didn't have the stitch markers and I kept getting off. So once I added the stitch markers, it was no problem. So I highly recommend using them if you knit this shawl. If you find yourself kind of getting off pattern, it will put you right back on. It's got a lovely picot edge, and this is going to be a gift for someone for Christmas, but I'm not going to say who. But I hope that they really love it. And last but not least is the final, well, not the final, but it's another anthology throw. So this is the one that I made for my niece, and at the time she was really into mermaids. That was 6 months ago, and you know how like 7-year-olds are, 6-year-olds are, 7 years old. Their attention span changes dramatically with the seasons, but I used the mermaid collection from Deborah at Candy Shop Yarns to do this. Each section had 2 minis in it, so it was 40 grams of each color, and then I added a bare stellina at the end to kind of finish it off. So I'll take you through that. So it's all in gold sparkle yarn, except for the stellina at the bottom is a silver sparkle. I didn't have a gold bare yarn sparkle. But anyway, so it starts out with this lovely color, and then it moves into this beautiful peachy orange, and then this lilac-y purple. You can see the stellina there a little bit. Then more of this magenta color, a lighter blue, a darker blue, a turquoise, and then this really lovely green. And then I finished it off with the bare yarn. So a few things you'll notice. This one's not quite as big as mine. I did knit it, number one, on a smaller needle, which made it a little bit smaller, and then I also left out a few rows just so that I have enough yarn. So the lace section at the bottom is not quite as big, but I'm going to scoot back here and hold it up so you can see it again. So it is still quite a large blanket throw. I mean, it could be worn as a shawl. It would be quite cozy. She's 7, and so I thought it just would be a nice little cuddly shawl that she could wrap herself up in. Obviously, it's double that size when you take into account that it is a giant circle. So yeah, there it is in all of its glory. I love it. I think it's beautiful. Again, I'll kind of hold it up. Maybe you can see the stellina in it and all those colors. I think she's gonna love it. She's very much a sparkly kind of girly girl. So that is all of the finished objects that I can remember completing over the last year. There may be others, but I don't remember any others, and I couldn't find any others as I was ransacking my house to pull things out. So you wouldn't believe the disaster that surrounds me currently. Well, if you're a podcaster, you would, because it's just kind of par for the course. But here we are. This is the finished projects. So let's talk about my whips, my works in progress. What's on my needles? I'm gonna get a drink here. And I know that my previous episodes, I've done a lot more editing. I don't know how much time I'm gonna really have to do a ton of editing and cutting and putting in markers and that sort of thing. So bear with me. I got to get back in the swing of things, and I really just wanted to podcast and share a little bit. So it may not be as polished as my previous episodes, but it is what it is. So, all right. Works in progress. So one of the pieces that I've been working on is currently stuck under my chair. Hold, please. Okay. This is the Arwen shawl. I believe that's what it's called. Now I can't remember, so hold on 1 second. Here we go. Nope. The Ingwer shawl by Fiber Company, the Fiber Co. I think this is it's backwards. I apologize, I'll put it on the screen here. It's a pattern by Melanie Berg that she created for the Fiber Co. I am knitting this out of Sea Change Fibers yarn. I got this on my work trip last December to the Bay Area. I stopped in at the Black Squirrel Yarn Co. in Berkeley, and that was quite the adventure just to find it and park to get in there. But I did. I did not give up. I did have to drive around for quite a while before I could get in there, but this is their E. Cola Fine yarn. It's 85% merino, 15% silk. It is 500 yards per 100 grams. So it's a really, I would say, a light fingering. I wouldn't call it a lace weight. It seems a bit heavier than a lace weight. It's in between a fingering and a lace, so I would say light fingering. And this is the colorway Forest Path. Again, I think that's backwards. So this is what I have completed. I actually started this, got about as far as I am now, messed up, had to rip it all the way back. And then I started it again. So this is the project as it stands. You start from one corner, obviously, and then you increase throughout the shawl. It's got this really beautiful texture here. You do these textured sections, and then you do like these garter sections, and then more texture, more garter, more texture. So I'm really loving that. It's been on hold because I've been working on trying to finish all of these gift projects. Once I finish this final gift project, I will be able to get back to that. So, but this is the yarn. It's really lovely. It's got this beautiful kind of halo to it. So merino silk, it's gorgeous. And that's the Ingwer shawl. It's living in this bag that I made myself. I don't have a tutorial. I just cut shapes and sewed them together and added a little handle and just kind of played around, and yeah, so that's that. I also have in my Sandy by the Lakeside bag, isn't that cute, with the sugar cookies, perfect for this time of year, a project that I started with, oh man, and I have that project somewhere and I can't remember, but you may all recall that I started a half and half triangles wrap. I have completed the whole first section with the pink, and then I started adding in the dandelion yellow, and I really didn't like it. So I took out the yellow and I added in a different color, and I'll have to show you that on one of my next episodes. but I decided to use the dandelion yellow for another project. So I cast on an outline tee, and this is as far as I've gotten. So I did the rib. I did the rib at the bottom for the hem, and then basically it's just stockinette for days, and it's fingering weight, so again it takes forever, but I'm thinking if I get this done by spring, then it'll be perfect, because it is a tee, so it's not like I'm going to be wearing it in the winter. This is knit in Purl Soho's, you know, the yarn that everybody uses for the half and half triangles wrap. Linen quill, which is a wool linen alpaca blend. I love this color. I do think it's gonna look pretty good on me. So here's where I am with the first ball still. I think it's a really, really pretty color. And again, this is the outline tee. It's by Jessie Maed Designs, and I have a picture here. So it should be fairly drapey and really comfy for spring into summer to wear over dresses or with a skirt or jeans or whatever. So so I'm currently kind of working on that, but not really. It's also been hibernating because, again, I'm trying to finish all those gift knits. So, but there's that. Two more whips that I'm going to share today. I have a lot more behind me in that closet, but we don't have all day, and a lot of them I haven't worked on for a while, so I'll sprinkle those in as we go along throughout the future episodes. But one of the projects I do work on and pull out every once in a while randomly is I'm making a jelly roll blanket. This is another pattern by Kate Jones of the Bakery Bears. It uses scraps, which is perfect. And I'm working on doing kind of a gradient, a rainbow gradient. So I've started with kind of these off-whites, ivories, moving into sort of some tans and browns. And you just start with one strip and you knit it as long as you want, and you add in new yarns as it goes. And once you get to the end, then you can start and you add on another strip. So I'm currently on my fourth strip, which is pretty impressive. And I know that you can kind of add on strips without finishing the whole row, but I'm a finisher, so I've, you know, kind of gone through the whole thing and, you know, done the whole thing. But it's really easy. It's 20 stitches wide. Each little section is 20 stitches, and you just knit until you run out of yarn. And one of the things she recommends is that you don't switch yarns at the end. So all of my yarns ends are kind of in the middle, and eventually I'll go in and weave those in so that I don't have to do them all at the very end, maybe when I get to the next color. But you can see I've moved into kind of some peaches and that sort of thing. So I'm just using up bits of pieces that I've had over the years that are sitting in my scrap basket, and I've got all of those in here. So I've broken them into kind of colorways. So these are the last few for that first the first couple of sections, and then I'll be moving into these warmer kind of browns and oranges, and it's just really simple. It's easy to pick up and put down. I'm using double pointed needles. These are, I think they're the Knit Pro Zings. It's a US 2.75 millimeter. So yeah, and it's just easy. It's just easy to pick up, knit a little bit, put it back in your bag, and move on to something else. Or, you know, when you don't have any brain space to do anything else, that's what I pick up. So the last work in progress that really has all my attention right now because I'm on a deadline to get it done. It is a Christmas gift. And like I mentioned with Addie's blanket, I was making it for her birthday, which was in July, but it didn't get done in time. There were a lot of things going on in my life at that point. So I decided just to make it a Christmas gift, and along with her getting one, I'm making one for her sister, my youngest niece. Her name is Willa. And so I decided to use my Lofty Loops Advent from last year to make Willa's. It's a really lovely rainbow gradient, and it's not sparkle yarn, so, but I think she's gonna love it. And it's currently still in the needle, so it's all scrunched up, but I'll kind of show you from the middle where I'm at. I am currently about 10 rows from being done, but it's taken me about 45 minutes to do a row. So I've reached that point. I'm at the largest part of the increases. It's over 1,100 stitches at this point. So yeah, so it's just taking a little while, but we'll get there. So here is the middle. It starts with these really beautiful kind of icy blues, and then it moves into lighter blues, and then into darker blues, and then greens, yellows, oranges, kind of a light red, pink, and now I'm moving into the final section, which are the purples. So I'm on the lace bit, so if you'll remember from the other one, oh man, low battery, you'll see that the lace section, it's fairly long. So give me 1 second while I plug in my phone so that we don't lose the battery here. Oh no, my cord's not long enough. Hold on a second. Okay, I'm back. Had to find a cord that was long enough to reach from my desk to my phone, but here we are. So the last width that I'm working on, this is getting all of my attention, is this Anthology throw for my niece Willa. You can see here it's not blocked or anything, so it's really scrunched up on the needle, and it's a pretty big needle, but it's obviously a pretty big blanket. So I'm on the purples. I have about 10 rows left to do. So these are the colors that I have left. I don't think I'm going to use this one, so just 4 more colors left. And I'll end the edge with this dark purple. So I'm almost there. I will get it done in time for Christmas to ship out to her. She's in Oregon, and she and Addie will both have their Anthology throws. Sort of matching, but not totally matchy, but close enough. So hopefully there'll be kind of some heirloom pieces for them to keep for a long time. But I know that they're also kids, so they're gonna hopefully use them and cuddle up with them, and you know, things get worn out over time, and that's okay. So this is hers. Again, I'll kind of try to show you and spread it out a little bit. So that's where we're at. It's almost done. It is really interesting to block, I'll be honest. It takes up my entire queen size bed. I have to put my blocking mats, you know, like leave the middle empty and just do the outside and then pull it and pin it all the way around the edge. because it's got those points on the lace. So, but it's totally worth it because it's a beautiful throw. So that is the end of my works in progress, what's on my needles section currently. I do have plenty more things that I'm working on, but I haven't worked on, that are on my needles, but are just kind of hibernating in the closet behind me. So, all right, so let me put that away. So I did want to share a couple of things with you that have come into my life over the last year. A couple of them I know some of you were really looking forward to seeing during Christmas last year, and I didn't get to share those. So hopefully you maybe saw them around the interwebs somewhere else. But I do have a couple of my advents that I'll show you that I haven't used yet, but I do have plans for. So I'll share those plans with you. And then I wanted to show you just the beautiful Farmer's Daughter Fibers Sock Club Sock Squad collection of yarns that I've gotten over the years. So I have one more coming at the end of this month. But otherwise I have them all. So those orangey yellow socks I've already made. I have another one all skeined up ready to be another pair of socks. It's the February colorway. So I don't have that one here in my little basket, but I'll grab the basket and show you the rest. So I'm not going to take them all out and show you one by one. As I use them throughout the year, I'll kind of share them with you and show you what they are. But this club that she does every year, I think it's different, but there were several different bases that would, you got a few of throughout the year, and each sock came with a corresponding mini. So this was the most recent one, which, oh my gosh, is so pretty. Isn't that beautiful? Let me get a good color. So I think that's pretty good. It's beautiful. The colorway is cone flower, so like echinacea, and then this is the mini that goes with it. It's hard to tell, but it's a really deep plummy purple color. So try to hold those up for you to get a good idea. The lighting is terrible, so I know I gotta find a good spot to do my podcasting in this new house. I don't think this is it, but this is where we landed today. So here we are. Otherwise, this never would have gotten done because, let me tell you, it took me a while just to get going. Okay. So those are my Sock Squad yarns. I also had a dandelion and dogwood advent last year. It was based on roses from the Dyer's Gardens and just roses that they love. So I got mine on the sparkle base, and I have plans. I already have the needles and everything in here. That's where those went. I plan to do the Polesden scarf or throw wrap. Scarf or wrap. I haven't decided which one. But I'm going to do one of those with these yarns. And I was really lucky last year because I bought this advent and then my mom bought it for me as a gift as well. So I actually have two of these. The other one is still in the packages. So I haven't even opened them yet. But this is the full skein that it came with. Sending Christmas Roses. I think it's just beautiful. I don't know if you can see the sparkle in there. Yeah, you can. Look at that. Oh, so pretty. So that's the full skein that it came with. I've got some of my Drops Alpaca Silk in here because that's going to go with the pattern. And here are the rest of the yarns. They're so pretty. Oh my goodness. So Amy and her sister Jen, I think her sister's name is Jen, from Dandelion and Dogwoods, are amazing dyers. They are so talented. I'm so glad that I got this box this year. I would love to get a box every year, but I didn't order theirs this year. But I mean, just look at these, the way they're packaged, the little labels. This is called New Shoots. Oh, it's so pretty. You could see the sparkle in that yarn. Oh my gosh. So, So that's my Dandelion and Dogwoods Advent from 2022. That's just been living in the box, waiting for me to work on a project, and I do have plans. I'm all ready for it. I'm all ready to get going. So I'll put all that back in there, close it up, and get it ready to go. I do want to work on that during, I think, the Advent season this year, but I also have another project that I kind of want to work on, so we'll see which one wins out. The other Advent that I wanted to share with you today is my Beehive Yarns Advent from last year. And this one is just beautiful as well. So it came in this lovely keepsake box, and the colorway names were there. There's also a little inspiration card. There you go. Sorry, there's a glare. And these went in the order of the seasons, so they were dyed based on or inspired by the Little House books by Laura Ingalls, which is why I ordered it, because I love those books. I read them all the time when I was little, and it was so fun to kind of go through the seasons with this, and they're so beautiful, and I've just not known what I want to make with them, but I've been watching, or rewatching really, the Vlogmas from Sarah at Yarnmugs. Oh my gosh, my mind went blank. We'll talk about what's going on with my mind in a little bit. Sarah at Yarnmugs, she got the same Advent last Christmas. She started to do a it's the other Helen Stewart shawl. It's not the hibernation shawl, the Habitation shawl, which I have knit before. But she did it in these colors, starting with, you know, the very first one. Oh my gosh, it was so beautiful. And she just finished it a few months ago. And I was like, oh, well, that's what I'm gonna make, because it is gorgeous. So here are the colors. Starting with spring. So it started with spring, it went through spring into summer, fall, as you can see the transition, and then into winter. And then there were little goodies that came with it along the way. So those are still in the box, most of them. Isn't it beautiful? Oh my gosh. Give you a closer look. They're so pretty. They're so pretty. Okay. So her Habitation shawl was so pretty. It just, each colorway just stood out so beautifully. And she only used 10 grams. These are 20 gram minis. She only used half of each mini for that shawl, but I think I might make it and just use the whole mini and just make a really, it's not a shawl, it's a throw. Just make a really big throw. Because I don't know what I would do with the other 10 grams. But we'll see. So yes, Beehive Yarns last year, A Year at the Cabin, 2022 Advent. I didn't get her Advent this year either. I'm sure it will be beautiful, but it is what it is. I did order an Advent this year from McMullen Fiber Co. Based off of a book collection. So it's all these hardback book covers. I think it will be beautiful. Her yarns are really beautiful as well. So I kind of wanted to spread the love, as I do. So I ordered her Advent. I hadn't planned on ordering anything else, and I was really good all year long. And then Rachel at So Raimi posted that she still had her Christmas in Scotland boxes. She had still had some available. And I am so, I don't want to say obsessed with Scotland, but I really want to go there someday. I do have some Scottish heritage in my family on my mother's father's, my paternal grandfather's side. So, and I don't know what it is about it, but it's always drawn me. Scotland, Ireland, Northern England. I've just always wanted to go, just the entire UK, Ireland, all of that. So someday I will get there. But so when she posted that she still had some available, I snatched one up. So it just came in the mail yesterday, but I haven't opened it. So you'll have to wait and see what's in there later. And I haven't gotten my McMullen Fiber Co. Advent yet. So we're only about halfway through November. So I'm sure it'll get here in time. So that's pretty much it. So if you were only here for the knitting or the yarny goodness, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate you being here. I am going to have a little bit of a chat with everybody, just so that you kind of know what's been going on in my life in the last year, where I've been and what I've been up to. And if you're interested in that, please stick around. And if not, thank you so much for joining us. Hope to see you on the next episode. If you enjoyed this, like, subscribe, click the little dingy bell if you want. It's up to you. So, but I promise I will be back. I can't promise on a specific schedule, but I will be back. I have lots of things that I want to share and things that I want to do. So yeah. I'll see you all later if you are leaving us now. If you do want to stick around for a little chat, let me just get a drink of my coffee. I was gonna grab some knitting, but I'm currently on the lace row. Of that throw, so. But I encourage you to grab something yummy to drink. Get out your knitting and join me here for a little bit of quiet time. Not really quiet time. I'm going to talk through the whole thing, so, it is what it is. Okay, so my last podcast was November of last year. It was about a year ago. I did post a little teaser before the month of December, and then I never came back, so you probably were pretty annoyed. I'm sorry. December was crazy for me. I had work travel in the first half of the month, which was a little bit more stressful than I had planned for it to be. That's when I was in the Bay Area, and then I, as it always seems to happen for me when I come back from travel, I was sick. And then the holidays came, and I got some really good news at work. I was promoted. But as they say with what is it? Oh man, see, I don't even know. There was a lot more responsibility, a lot more involved, or is, not was, because I still have it, but I was promoted to kind of a senior level position, and so I was excited about that, obviously, and really grateful and happy, but it meant considerable more amount of work. So then I had that to start the new year, and then in addition to that, I moved house. So that is also very exciting good news. My boyfriend, I like to refer to him as my partner because we are fully committed to each other forever, but we moved in together. So that was a combining of two households into one. We had to find a new place, and that was a journey in itself. The housing market, as it is pretty much everywhere, is terrible here. And when you have a dog, it's even harder, especially in this area for some reason. So just finding a spot that was in a good area. He's got two young boys that are 7 and 8 that we have with us part-time. So I've got 2 bonus kiddos now in the house. So it was just a big transition. And then we ended up having them full-time for the entire month of April. So we moved in together at the beginning of February, and it took us about a month to kind of combine both households together and get out of our other places fully and do all that cleaning and all of that stuff. And along with that, I was traveling with work, And then we had the boys full-time for pretty much the entire month of April. And, you know, they're both in school, so that was a bit of a change for sure. Not only for myself, just not having lived with kids. I mean, I did live with kids when I was living with my sister during the pandemic and my nieces, but this was a little bit different. So just getting a routine and schedules and all of that. And then the end of summer came and we had a trip that we took for about a week and a half to Boston to see my boyfriend's, my partner's family. So I got to meet all of his family. We went out to Boston and we had a really great time out there. We got back from Boston and then the boys left to go to Australia with their mom, who got married in Australia to her new husband. And so they were gone for most of the summer, which turned out to be kind of a blessing because about 6 days after we got back from our trip, my partner had a stroke. Let me take a drink. So we're both in our mid-40s, so it was a bit unexpected. We had just come back from a really great trip, and he plays in a pool league, like a billiards league, and we were at one of his matches, and all of a sudden he lost vision in his right eye. It just kind of went really black, like purple. And he had had a headache all afternoon into the evening, which is unusual because he doesn't normally get headaches, but you know, we just kind of brushed it off to dehydration or, you know, whatever it is, you know, being tired, stressed. We just come back from a trip, all of that. And then when he lost the vision in his eye, you know, we were pretty concerned. So I said, you know, I think we need to pack up and leave. Let's head to urgent care. So, you know, we're talking about urgent care. I'm looking it up on my phone as we walk out to the car, and none of the urgent cares were open. So I was like, you know, I'm concerned. This isn't normal that you would lose vision. We got into the car and literally we sat down and he started to stroke. So he slumped over. It's all of those things that you hear about with the fast, right? Face drooping, arm, you know, kind of pain or arm drooping, speech impairment. All of those things happened. I looked over and he just, it was his face had totally changed. He wasn't really coherent. And I just knew immediately. I was like, oh my gosh, you're having a stroke. Luckily, we were about 5 minutes from the emergency room. So I drove like a mad woman. I ran probably 10 red lights to get there. And I pulled up to the emergency exit and I couldn't get him out of the car. He was pretty much dead weight. He was still conscious though. And so, you know, I ran in, I'm like screaming, and they came out and got him. And it was July 3rd, so the day before the 4th of July. And we got to the hospital, it was about 10 o'clock at night, the emergency room, and that started a month-long hospital stay. So I am happy to report that he is pretty much 100% back to normal. I was lucky enough to recognize the symptoms and get him to the hospital in time for them to administer this medication that starts to break up the clot immediately. But he had a tear in his carotid artery. They don't know how he got it. We don't know how he got it, but it had formed clots, and one of the clots broke loose and went up into his brain behind his eye. And that's why he lost the vision in his eye. So they had to go up in through his vein in his leg to, once they had given him that medication and the clot had broken up, they had to go up through that vein to pull out all the rest of the pieces of the clot. And he was under pretty heavy sedation for a few days in the ICU. And then he got transferred up to kind of the general population. He was there for about a week and a half, where he started his physical therapy. And it was very scary. It was a very scary time. It's not something you would expect in your, when you're 40 years old. But I'm really grateful that I had the presence of mind to not just brush it off. Everybody was like, when he had lost his vision, they were like, oh yeah, just go home, put a wet cloth on it, whatever. And I just knew something wasn't right. So he is 100% back to work, 100% pretty much back to everything in his life. The only thing that he still is struggling with is playing pool, unfortunately, which is a big bummer for him because he was really, really good at it. So I'm hoping that will eventually come back, but it's definitely like a vision thing, depth perception and all of that. So, but yeah, we're so grateful, so blessed that he just, it could have just been so much worse. So that was pretty much our whole month of July. And then he was in outpatient rehab for most of August. And then he finally got to go back to work at the end of August. And then September came around, and I was back to traveling for work at the end of September and the beginning of October. And so lots of work travel, and like I said last year at this time, it's our busiest time of year, the company that I work for right now. So it's just a big month kind of to wrap everything together. So it's been a little crazy, and that's why I haven't been around. But for some reason, in the last few weeks, something's just been drawing me to come back. So here I am. I'm back, and I'm so glad to be here. And I plan to continue to come back and chat with you all. And I'm just looking forward to, this community. I love this community. I still watch vlogs and podcasts and follow people on Instagram. I am back on Instagram. I just haven't been posting. I will be honest, if you were following me on Instagram, I had a pretty crazy time also. So another thing that's happened with me, and I'm just gonna say it because I don't think it's something to be ashamed about, and I think it's something that we need to talk about more as women, which many of you are women. I know you're not all women, but many of us are women, is perimenopause happens to many of us. It was also not something I was expecting at the age of 44. I'll be 45 in April. So I'm 44, and apparently my body has started to go into, or it's in perimenopause, and it's actually started to go into menopause a bit. So I am currently in the process of starting hormone replacement therapy. Yay! So, but just a little PSA, I guess, for those of you out there. I just had, it was a really tough, it's been a tough last, 6 months. I had moments where I thought that I was going crazy. It's just not normal, right? I had really bad anxiety, which I never had in my life. I started to get night sweats, and now I have hot flashes, and one of the worst symptoms has been the insomnia. So I am not used to not being able to sleep at night. So that has really been tough, is the insomnia piece, and just the anxiety piece. So luckily I have an excellent doctor who listened to all of my symptoms, and there were many. So if you're wondering if you can find anything that you relate to in this, I just had moments where I couldn't remember things. I've always had a really good memory. I had zero patience with people. I felt like I couldn't do my job. I just constant I'm not good enough, anxiety, depression for sure. On top of that, with the insomnia and the hot flashes and the night sweats, really bad joint aches in my legs. My legs would just hurt. They just ache and ache and ache. And crawling skin, super itchy crawly skin, and ears. Like, that's also been driving me crazy. So, you know, if you're experiencing any of those things or a lot of those things and you think it's just normal, maybe talk to your doctor, because I went for quite a while and I was just like, I don't know, maybe this is just, I don't know, maybe my skin's dry, or you know, and it's not. So you can look up symptoms of perimenopause, and if you know, if you're seeing a lot of those things, fatigue, low energy, thinning hair, I mean, all of it. I've experienced all of it in the last 6 months, and it's enough to drive you a little batty. So luckily I'm under the care of a really good physician. She knows exactly what I'm going through. We're about the same age and she's going through the same thing at the same time. So I don't have that, you know, there's nothing wrong with you. Nobody's told me that, which is really nice. And I'm going to be starting that hormone therapy here very soon. So I might have more to share with you about that soon. I'm going the all natural route with bioidentical hormones instead of the chemical hormones or the equine hormones or whatever they give you. So I'm going to try the natural route and see if that helps. We'll see. So, but I'm doing much better, and I'm back, and I'm happy to be back, and I hope that you guys will all stick around and see what else is going on down the pike. I'm hoping also to find a better spot. This just isn't the best spot, but I think it worked for today. So, all right, I'm gonna let you all go. It's been a long one as usual. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you guys again soon. I don't know when the next time will be, but it will be, you know, it won't be another year, I promise that. So I'll put my details here at the end. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I'll open up my my Instagram again. When I was going through all of my things, I just pretty much unfollowed everybody and made my account private and got off of Instagram for a really long time. So, you know, if you've noticed that maybe we're not Instagram followers or whatever, please don't take it personally. It's not because I, you know, didn't want to be friends or anything like that. I just needed a break and just kind of cut everything off for a little while. So, but it is what it is. All right, friends. Well, here's to a wonderful rest of your week and a happy Thanksgiving coming up next week. It's Thanksgiving already, and I'm really looking forward to all the vlogmases coming out in the month of December, and you never know, maybe I'll film a little bit of that for you too. So thanks again for joining me, everyone. I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.